Hey, there you are.
Hey, Lou.
Thank you. Well, I'll tell you what, we've got a special guest for you today. A very special guest. One of my tennis buddies, and also, a man of many, many talents. We're going to be talking to Dr. Rufus Lowe today. But first, welcome. It's great to see you.
It's
I'm
great to
Lou
see you as
Vickery.
well.
I tell you, Rufus, it is great to have you aboard today. Thank you for coming.
Likewise. Likewise.
I tell you, the best place to start this is tell our listeners a little bit about your background. I know you have a doctorate degree in education. You're a retired major in the U.S. Army, but take it from there.
Well, I am I guess the most important thing is I'm a father and a husband. I have four kids. Two of them are out of the house and two of them are still in the house. So I have a challenge with what they may refer to as empty nest syndrome. I don't think I'll ever experience that. But I've been gracing this earth for about 60 years. Most of that, I guess, being employed as either a teacher, administrator, or an officer in the military, as you made mention of just a few seconds ago. But the thing that I do now is of course, write podcasts that basically are designed to create racial harmony. Uh, I look at my situation and I think to myself, I've got it made in the sense I've been blessed to have a lot of friends. Most of my friends happen to be of the Caucasian persuasion. And as a result, I feel like that same harmony that I get with the friends that I go play tennis with or that I have dinner with or because my circles tend to be at the higher academic levels and stuff like that. I feel like the harmony that I've been able to experience in my life could be shared. And so I thought, well, the best way to be able to do that is to actually do some research on it, and as a result, write books and conduct podcasts that basically support racial harmony.
Dr. Rufus Lowe, our special guest here on. I started to say Lou Vickery in the morning. That was the name of my radio show. Hey, we're just so excited that you're with us here on our YouTube channel. And I hope you'll tell your friends and neighbors all about it. Our special guest, Dr. Rufus Lowe, as I mentioned. Rufus, the podcast you do and you focus on racial harmony. Tell us a little bit, according to your own views, what does that mean?
Well, there's a lot of little caveats that have to do with racial harmony. And I like mentioning those because as I go about defining that, I will go, in summary, talk a little bit about how that works. But in order to have racial harmony, I feel like there has to be truth and honesty, and that comes before peace. There has to be equity, and the equity sometimes creates a degree of discomfort. So, equity before comfort, a shared humanity, media education, and a form of education that allows us to understand our past in order to be better people in the future, and justice. And basically, in summary, racial harmony is the absence or is not what I refer to as the absence of conflict. There's going to be a little bit of conflict. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. But in the end, everybody being able to have the same type of experiences that myself and Lou have on each day, it should be the norm and not the exception. So when people ask that question, I try to be real honest and because all too often harmony it gets mixed up with or mistaken for silence and for politeness as well. So we feel like the best thing to do as far as racial harmony is concerned is not talk about it, not say anything about it. And in general, what that does is that creates some what we feel is politeness to our fellow man, just by not bringing up things that might be uncomfortable. Uh, but true harmony, uh, the kind that communities deserve, doesn't come from avoiding conflict. Like I said earlier, it comes from facing the truth. It comes from seeing that you can build peace on truth instead of a lie, or you can build unity on anything other than denial. And if we can't, or if we want racial equality, we've got to start with truth before peace, and that means being honest about the legacies as it pertains to slavery, segregation, redlining, biases in schools, biases in things like banking procedures, healthcare. These aren't just ancient ghosts, so to speak. They're modern systems that hold deep roots within our society. And so I go about every day trying to talk about those in a way that makes us understand how it perpetuates stereotypes and things that may not gather a degree of growth from one community to the next. And the community that I'm always referring to is the marginalized communities. So that's pretty much the way I see racial harmony. It's a construct that has a lot of different pillars to it, a lot of different steps in order to get there. But it's all based, first of all, on peace, and it's based on understanding that we have to be honest with each other as far as what problems we have in our society as it pertains to our marginalized communities.
Dr. Rufus Lowe, our special guest, retired major, the U.S. Army. Rufus, I just got to get to your book. I'm sorry, we can. There's some other things that I want to talk to you, but I got to get to your book, Shadow Tolerance Revealed. It's a book that you're working on. This is your second book. Tell us a little bit about what the reader can expect from that, okay?
Well, before I can talk about Shadow Tolerance Revealed, it was based off Shadow Tolerance, A Guide to Racial Tolerance. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to start off with a nonfiction that basically does the things that I had mentioned earlier in the question that I asked at the beginning. Address those issues from a self-learning, self-taught perspective. And then I was going to write at least 7 books that bounce off of that. But these books were not going to be nonfiction. They were going to be, or sequels. They were going to be fiction novels. So Shadow Tolerance Revealed is my first fiction novel. And it's real simple. It's about a couple of characters, or 3 characters, that go on through a normal life of present day intolerance as it pertains to racism. And then it goes back at the same time, or simultaneously, talking about 2 other characters that lived in the past. So the past kind of crosses with the future or with the present. Now, my next few books will address present as it crosses with the future. Decisions that are made today, what type of impact does that have on racial tolerance, racial harmony, racial equity in the future? And so it will, since I haven't started that yet, basically that's just the spin of how Shadow Tolerance Revealed is working. So it basically shows how characters interact with the community and dealing with social problems in a setting where you have characters explain it, as opposed to me in a nonfiction version explained it.
Rufus Lowe, our special guest here on our YouTube channel. Rufus, talk a little bit about where we are in our country from a racial equality standpoint, in your estimation.
It's a bitter pill to swallow. Can you hear me? I don't know if I heard it. I'm getting a little feedback. But it's a bitter pill to swallow a lot of times for some people to understand that we don't all start off at the same place. The difference between equality and equity is treating everybody the same is equality, and treating and everybody starting at the same place, wanting the same things in life, being able to work, being able to go on vacations, being able to pay your bills, being able to live in a nice house that you can afford. Everybody wants that. It doesn't matter whether you're Hispanic, whether you're Asian, black, white, indifferent. Everybody wants those in life. And so if we are able to understand that, the basic humanity of life, then what's going to happen is we're going to all appreciate each other and respect each other. Because there is a lack of equality or equity between the marginalized communities, a degree of disrespect is always attained because you look down on people. We have a loathing as a community of the poor. We have a loathing of the oppressed because there's always something that says that they're not as good as, or they're not working as hard as I am. When it's all said and done, a person that works 60 hours a week at McDonald's may be working just as hard as the person that happens to make $1 million a year and spends 60% of his time on the golf course. The point is, our system is set up for those people to be what I call a perpetual underclass. And so if we respect the fact that everybody comes from a different area, but we all want to be in the same place, by doing that, regardless of creed, regardless of what a person does, regardless of their socioeconomic status, we can come to a place of racial harmony. At this particular point, because there's so much there's so much diversity, which is good, but so much animosity between the sections, between marginalized groups, between the have and the have-nots, we find it hard to be able to come to that level of respect for one another. We just have to be honest with each other. I go to church every Sunday, and I love my preacher, but more than anything else, I love my neighbor. I want my neighbor, if they need anything, to feel free to come to me and ask. And that neighbor, it doesn't matter what color or creed or nationality they are, I am going to do whatever I can to make sure that my neighbor is taken care of, because that's my neighbor. That's my responsibility to make sure that we have a certain degree of respect for one another. When they go out of town on vacation, I'm going to pull up the trash can to the curb to make sure that they don't have a week's worth of trash still in their backyard, because I, as a neighbor, didn't take that in consideration out of love and care for them. So my thing, more than anything else, is loving everybody and understanding just because there's difference, there shouldn't be any animosity. And at this time, I don't think that our country has got to the point where that's the most important thing. But we will get there, because people like us that advocate for good over evil.
Rufus Lowe, our special guest. Rufus, my last question relates to, what do we have to do to bring people together in a better way?
Well, a lot of times that question is asked, and sometimes because it's not an easy question in the case that it has one or two caveats to it, it's very complex. It's very comprehensive. So what I usually like to do is I try to break it down and try to get to some degree of how these milestones work in order to help us be able to understand it. And of course, the first thing we can always do is here goes. This is as simple as it gets. Tell the truth, and be honest about what you see and what you learn about yourself and what you learn about others. You got to understand that over time, things get better. Things don't get better just at a happenstance. It's not a snapshot in time. It's a process that we do the right thing each and every day, and we build on that. We're nice to people. We're cordial to people. We're polite to people. We make every opportunity we can to smile and be genuine with people. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the most complex part, and that is appreciating and respecting and understanding our history. I think I have a podcast on book banning, and a lot of people say, well, you know what? The most important thing when it comes to racial tolerance and racial harmony is to just not say anything and forget about the negative aspects of our history. But just like anything else, if you start banning things that would create the mindset that, hey, things were no different in the past than they are today. It's just that we've evolved and gotten better, and we put a different type of image to it. When we understand that everything basically is a circle, a circular motion, where, I think there was a little story that I used to read all the time in the first grade, where a husband and a wife were talking about a problem that they had, and they wanted a solution. The problem was there was a hole in the bucket. And so what happens is the wife comes up with all these solutions, and you're laughing, you probably heard it as well, these solutions to fix the hole in the bucket. And when it's all said and done, when the circular motion was complete, the problem was, the reason we can't fix the bucket or the hole in the bucket is because there was a hole in the bucket. So we have to understand that when we go and start at a certain place in our reality, and we go around the circle, we're going to come back to the same thing again unless we figure out first how to solve that problem, then move on to the next, then move on to the next, and then move on to the next, so that the circular part of our identity is not what keeps us from progressing.
Rufus, we're going to have to run, but real quickly, tell us a little bit about your podcast, Advocate with Dr. Rufus Lowe.
All right, Advocate with Dr. Rufus Lowe is of course, my podcast. You can find it at drrufuslowe.com, and it's drrufuslowe.com. There you can find all my different episodes right there at your disposal. You can even buy, advocate, merchandise. Everything you need to know is on the podcast. Of course, my monologue always starts with, my show is about eradicating the silence of good people who allow bad things to happen. And what I do in that particular sense is I just let people know that if you advocate for good, regardless of how uncomfortable that might be, you basically will create a better world for everyone. I really, honestly, and truly believe that. So, like I said, it's Dr. Rufus Lowe. It's Advocate with Dr. Rufus Lowe. Can be found at Dr. Rufus Lowe. It's 2 R's. I know it looks kind of odd when you see it on the Chiron, but drrufuslowe.com is where you find that. And there's every subject, and it's always related to the teachings in my books.
This is a pleasure. Thank you, my man.
Thank you so much, sir. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at the tennis court.
At the tennis court. All right. Thank you. That's going to do it
you
for
take
this.
Care.
Again, thanks to Dr. Rufus Lowe, retired Major U.S. Army, being with us. Hey, we'll look forward to having you back soon. And until then, you keep a smile on your face, you keep happiness in your heart, and keep optimism on your tongue. I'm Lou Vickery, and I'll see you soon. Thank you, Rufus.
Thank you. Take care.